Hey everyone, Caleb with the Antique Book Collective, and today I'm getting to you guys with a video. Basically, it's just about eBay and why they don't take American Express. If that's the entire reason why you came to this video, yes, eBay does not currently take Amex cards, American Express cards, whatever you want to call it. They don't take it, and for a lot of old-time eBay users, it's like, wow, that really stinks. It used to accept it. That's my only card. I can't use eBay now. And eBay, if you are watching this, a random video from a really small channel, then please start taking American Express again. I really think that that would really help everyone's sales, because when you cut out an entire market of people that have just that card, you limit what we sellers can sell to, who we can sell to, and also you limit your own revenues. But with that said, this video is obviously not just going to be about that. This video is also about how I recently got around that whole, let's call it an embargo against American Express. And the entire thing for this, guys, so I did mention this in another previous video about how someone reached out and said, hey, can I send you a check or something? Can you just send me these books? I really want these books, but I can't buy it through American Express. And for me, I'm not going to go down that route. I don't want to have someone come find me on eBay and then undercut eBay and go around eBay because in my eyes, it's like, okay, they got me a buyer, that they orchestrated the buyer to find me, communicate with me, find the books, reach out about these books. They are obliged to get their cut. They are obliged to have what they earned for that. For me, when I'm listing these things, I am aware of the fees that I have to pay, and that's sort of the contract we have with eBay. When we are buying and selling with eBay, we are aware of these fees. We can see these fees. They are transparent about these fees. It's the agreement that we have with eBay. So I'm going to make sure that I can do everything in my power to make sure that eBay gets their cut. And that actually does tie in with the post that I posted right before this video came out just last night that you guys voted on. Of course, you guys can pop back and vote on that thing yourself, but we'll get into that later. But anywho's, back to the eBay thing. I told the guy, hey, I don't want to go down that route, and I could tell by the guy, it seemed in his communication, it seemed like he was a totally kosher guy. It wasn't just someone being scammy, because scammers get scammed, you know? So I was like, I know this guy's kosher, so let's see how this plays out. And I told the guy, hey, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do cash. I don't want to do any of that sort of stuff. I want to make sure that this goes through eBay. That is for your protection, my protection, and I want to make sure that they get their cut. I think I even mentioned that in my message to the guys. So I was like, here is a potential solution for you. And guys, this won't work if you guys have, let's say, what's a new book that I have? I don't have a whole lot of new books. I don't know. Let's say you have some random Scholastic book. I have some Scholastic books up there. And there's 105,000 of them for sale on Amazon, and there's 105,000 on sale everywhere else. You're not going to get that sale if you have someone go through all the same hoops that I had this poor guy go through. However, if you are like me and you sell what I sell, the antique books, the rare books, you're the only person with this book for sale. And this guy, he was like, yeah, I've been looking for this particular set of books for years now. You've got it. I will do anything I can to get these books. So I was like, yeah, absolutely. I would love to sell you these books. However, I want to make sure we go through eBay. So I told him, okay, this is going to sound weird, but is there any way you can go to your local Walmart, or I think I said Dollar Tree, because for me, Dollar Tree sells gift cards. And I was like, can you go to one of these places that has gift cards and purchase a gift card for the amount of what these books are going to be, to just purchase it like that? And that way everything's still done on eBay. That way, you know, everything's a little above board. And of course, buying stuff on the internet and having someone tell you to buy a gift card to do it sounds very, very scammy. So honestly, I felt a little bit like the scammer at this point. I was like, oh no, scammer gets scammed, I'm the scammer now. So I was like, I know this sounds weird, but this seems like the best possible way to protect both of us in this entire transaction. It protects eBay, all that jazz. So that guy was actually like, wow, I never actually thought about that. I'm going to go do that right now. And for him, he was like, actually, maybe not right now. It's a giant snowstorm right now. I'm frozen in my house, but on Thursday I'm going to go do it. So the guy actually went out on Thursday, bought the gift card, and we had conversed back and forward. He said, hey, instead of paying this much for the books, can I do 150? And I was like, absolutely. Then I was like, can you tell me what state you live in so I can calculate your sales tax so we can make sure you get the gift card for enough money? And guys, I know this is adding so much complexity to it. It makes it sound so much scammier, but I was like, okay, so $150, that includes your shipping. So there's that. And then your state was it was $9 and some change sales tax. So I'm like, you need to get $159 and whatever cents gift card to make sure that you are able to pay for this whole transaction. He's like, okay, cool, I'll make sure I do that. So we went through that. He bought the books. He left me good feedback. He got the books. He really enjoyed the books. And for me, I got my money. And eBay got their money. And basically, that's a long way of saying, because eBay doesn't take American Express, I had to take on a lot of risk. That other guy had to take on a lot of risk because we were adding yet another party into this whole transaction. We were adding a lot more complexity in the transaction. We were making things really, really difficult. It was sort of like you're trying to polish your window, but instead of having a clean rag, you dipped it in a thing of acid and gravel and then try to clean your window. And imagine that, you messed up your window. eBay, that's what you're doing when you have it so people can't use their particular credit card, debit card, any sort of thing like that. And in addition to that, eBay recently changed some of their stuff with PayPal. They made it a little bit harder for a lot of different people to use PayPal. Okay, did I say recently? A few years ago, but that's recently in my world. Anything recent in my world's going back like 100 years. I guess I'm a vampire, I don't know. But with that said, there's a lot of just issues with the entire fact that eBay doesn't take all these different cards, which is why a lot of people do end up going to other sites to purchase from, and also for sellers, it's why sellers might go to different sites as well. For me, let's say I go to Etsy. I don't know if Etsy takes American Express, but let's say I had another store on Etsy. I might tell the guy, hey, you might want to go back on Google or whatever and look up if there's any other places that sell this. Hint, hint, wink, wink, and he might buy it on Etsy instead of eBay at that point. Of course, that's not something I would do. For one, I don't want to sell on Etsy, but for two, again, the guy sort of came through eBay with all the work that I did with eBay to find my thing, so I'd still make sure that I tried to do it through eBay, but I'm just saying, it's like, there's a lot of ways that you could be unscrupulous about this, which, again, I'm not recommending. It's not something I do. It's not something I would like anyone to do, because unscrupulous things lead to unscrupulous things, which segues sort of into the poll that I actually sent out for you guys. So with that said, the entire video about American Express, all that sort of stuff is over now. If you guys want to end now, go ahead. If you want to get put on a list, stay with me for a little bit of time, because I'm going to get put on a list with this, honestly. So with that said, the post that I sent out to you guys was a little poll post that you guys could vote on, and it was me, first off, apologizing that I was going to be a little bit late with today's video, but then I added at the end of it, on an unrelated note, because I like doing stuff as polls also, what do you guys think about the recent talks around the IRS? And then I said that I'd weigh in with my own opinion, but I gave you guys some options to vote on. One of them was get rid of the IRS, one of them was more IRS, and the last one was IRS? Ha! Taxes are for sissies. Fortunately, no one voted for that one. I'm sure one of you guys are going to vote for this after watching this video. Please be sure to pay your taxes. All good citizens pay their taxes. Folks, if you want to cheat on your taxes, you will get Al Caponed and get sent to jail. They will throw the book at you. A lot of things like that. And in addition to that, remember what I said about how you sort of have a contractual agreement of different things. In America, you sort of have that contractual agreement at present to pay your taxes, all taxes that are due, if you want to follow that sort of a contract of being an American, if you will. So obviously, I do pay my taxes. I recommend people pay their taxes, and if you don't pay your taxes, well, I'm not a capo, I'm not the Gestapo, I'm not Stasi, I'm not going to report folks more often than not, because snitches get stitches, but also because I'm not going to report my fellow man for a lot of different things, unless you're a child sex trafficker, then in which case you're going to jail for sure. And that's if you get a chance to have me report it before something else happens. Cough, cough. I'm not saying I'd do anything, not at all. But anywho's, do I want to say exactly what I think for the whole IRS situation? No, I don't want to say my actual opinion on what I think should happen to the IRS, because when you criticize three-letter agencies, your house gets burned down as tear gas gets lit on fire. Stuff like that, stuff happens. So with that said, I'm not going to really say my opinion on this, but let me just say America worked very, very well for 100 and some years before the IRS was created. The IRS was created in 1913 as part of the Federal Reserve Act, meaning they took away Americans' ability to have gold and silver with the U.S. Treasury, and they added some intermediary entity called the Federal Reserve that then got a hold of all the Americans' money. And by money, I mean actual gold and silver, not paper money. That's currency. And when you're an American, are you going to use paper money or are you going to use real money? Well, you're going to keep on using the real money because paper money every single time in history has always failed. So any self-serving American with 2 brain cells to rub together would look at that and be like, I'm not going to use paper money if I still have my silver dollars, my gold dollars, all that sort of stuff. So they would keep on using that. So the government, in their infinite wisdom, was like, okay, no one's going to want our paper money when we do this. Let's force them. So they implemented the IRS to have it so there was at least a use case for those paper dollars to require people to basically use those paper dollars because you need dollars to pay your taxes. That gold and silver doesn't really pay your taxes anymore. Of course, at that time, you still sort of could because it still was legal tender for gold and silver. In fact, you could still use your gold $20 piece to pay for something for $20 if you wanted to use it for its face value. Or you could use your brain cell and look at the internet and realize, oh, gold is at all-time highs. It just hit more all-time highs today. Looking at that, maybe I don't want to sell it for face value. In fact, maybe I don't want to sell it at all. So that gets into another entire thing for economics, all that jazz, lots of really cool economics stuff. Just look up Gresham's Law if you guys want to learn more about that whole side of things. And I'm not just saying that because I live in Gresham. Haha, we're cool, I guess. But there's an entire thing that bad money chases good money out of an economy. So when a government implements really, really bad money, people are going to see this new bad money and think, I'm going to spend this. I don't want this. I'm going to keep the good stuff. So in the case of gold dollars, silver dollars, you're going to keep your silver dollars. You're going to spend those paper dollars because you're like, this paper dollar is worth nothing. This silver, this gold, even the copper, this is worth something. And speaking of which, total aside, historically when a certain coin gets demonetized, normally people are then allowed to melt those coins down once again. So you cannot melt down nickels and pennies at present, but potentially if Trump gets his way and we get rid of pennies and nickels, potentially there might be a change to actually allow you to melt those down. Pennies at present, if you can get the good old pennies, so that's some pennies from 1982 and it's all pennies 1981 and earlier. If you can get those, they're worth about 3 cents each right now. I think it's like 2.77 as of the last time I checked cents per coin. So essentially you could almost triple your money if you do that. Of course, it is a little bit hard to get your hands on a lot of those older pennies. I've been collecting them for several years because I expected they'd get rid of that rule sooner rather than later, and at the very least, I knew that I might be able to outlast this government in its previous form, in its current form. It's like, oh, America might actually have a chance again. Of course, you guys now know where I stand politically. But with that said, I actually do have a nice little hoard of copper pennies. Do pennies make as much money for me if I'm able to sell them for melt value as books do? Let's see. I pay $1 for a book and sell it for $30. That's 30 time return, or a penny. Get a penny, sell it, get 3 pennies. No, that's only 3 times return. So obviously it's not a big moneymaker value, money-making strategy for me. Even gold and silver. I mean, if you think about gold and silver, it's like, okay, silver, when I bought it till now, it's up, I don't know, 50% for the most part that I bought it, at least the larger tranches. And for gold, let's see, gold from when I bought it to now is up, oh, zooey mama, it's up like $1,000 from when I got it. Wow. So that's up 40%, let's say. It's up over $1,000. Wow. So obviously, gold and silver also make some pretty solid returns. Obviously, those returns are not the same as if you did pennies, so maybe you should invest in copper if you really want to. Not investment advice. Do your own due diligence. I'm not your financial consultant. Do your own all your own research, due diligence, all that jazz. But anywho's, maybe you're better off getting pennies if you can get it for 1 penny and sell it for 3. I don't know. Of course, you could do the same thing with gold and silver. But just do your own research, guys. Figure out what's best for you. For me and my house, we will use the silver, and we will also serve the Lord. You know, I know I had to ruin the scripture there. Forgive me. But with that said, there are a lot of different things that you guys can do to make some money. Some of them are currently not legal, so do not melt down your pennies and nickels for melt value right now, but potentially those rules can change. We shall see. And if you outlast the US government, or your family outlasts the US government, you can definitely melt down those pennies, because the US government won't have laws to enforce at that point, because it won't exist if you outlast it. So it sort of depends on your guys' doomsday scenarios as well. For me personally, I didn't really get my pennies just for the sake of melting them down. I separated my copper ones for also a barter situation. Let's say the world ends, the US dollar's toast, you're stuck using your gold and silver, but gold and silver are little large denomination things to get some of your trades that you want to do. Even a silver dime, that thing's still worth what, $2.50, $3? That's a little bit high. So I was getting my pennies, my actual solid copper pennies, and I was like, well, these still will spend because they are still copper, and copper still has value. Of course, there's other things you guys can invest in for the whole barter situation. You might not put a whole lot of stock in that. And personally, for me, I'm not putting anything over a 10% chance, especially right now. I would say with current things in the world, the chance of needing a barter situation in America is 1%. But even then, I like to make sure that even the outsized low-end chances of things, I still have at least some preparation for. And if that preparation costs me $5, you better believe I'm going to do it. So that's just my thoughts right there. Long story short, though, what are my views on the IRS? Well, it's the same as most other federal agencies. It's just ways for them to add extra laws to have it so there are more ways that Americans can be got for any crime. In fact, let's just go back to Al Capone really quick. So they could not get Al Capone for any of his actual crimes. He committed plenty of crimes, was not a great guy. Do not get me wrong there. However, the guy kept his nose clean. The guy kept his nose very clean. The only way they got him was because of taxes. Because no one can file their taxes properly. Like, even people that have gone through every single hoop, they have consulted federal officials, they have consulted, I want to say there's one guy that went through 14 different like high-level tax attorney people and consulted with the government, went through all these things because he was like, hey, I have already gotten the, let's see, I want to say the guy, this particular guy, it was either the IRS or the ATF, so the people that actually shoot your dogs and such. I can't remember which agency it was that the guy got mad at him. This guy was back in California, down in California, and it was back in the 90s, I want to say, that this all happened. And the guy was like, hey, the government's already mad at me. I'm renouncing my citizenship. I'm doing all these things. I'm not ready to do it just yet. I want to make sure that I do every single thing right. And all these things are like, he did this with the government. He did this with his lawyer, all this stuff. There are paper trails out of the wazoo. He's like, I want to be absolutely certain that I do everything correctly. They still... 14 years later, I believe it was, they decided, oh, look at this, we're the IRS, you did this part of your taxes wrong, we're arresting you. And the guy by this point was out of country. They extradited him to arrest him, to get him back in America, to arrest him and make him serve all this jail time. He's already served jail time for other souped up charges. And long story short, when certain agencies have the power over your life and your freedom, it's apt that those things will be abused. So for me, I think that less agencies should have that agency over your life to basically take your life from you. Under the Constitution, all the entire point of America, we have the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. When you have federal agencies that at any point can be used for political whims, for personal vendettas, for saving the name of a political agency, when those things can be used to take the life, liberty, or the happiness from someone, that's really messed up. And I know you guys are going to be like, oh, but this guy committed a crime. Obviously, he needs to serve that time. The thing is, a lot of times, these people did not actually commit actual crimes, and there are new laws put on the books, and these people are retroactively put in jail or punished in some way for these things, which is explicitly against basically all practiced law for hundreds, if not thousands of years, because let's face it, right now I have a YouTube channel. Next year you could make a law that says it's illegal to have a YouTube channel, and you could arrest me right now, even if I stopped the YouTube channel in a year from now and I wasn't committing a crime. When you retroactively do things, you can basically get anyone for anything because you can change the laws to do whatever you want. Under that same same example, for something that is a little less out there, slavery. I know I'm going to get banned now, but slavery. it's illegal to own slaves now in the United States. Doesn't say the politicians don't do it, but it's illegal to do it. If you retroactively went after people, that would mean all the landowners in the South would basically be in jail following the Civil War. And I know some of you guys are going to be like, well, they deserved that. Well, that's under current law, current morality. Personally, I don't like slavery at stinking all. I think it's a horrible abomination, absolutely evil. In addition to that, I don't believe my family has at any point in history even owned slaves. I don't even know if my extended family out 55,000 cousins has. So there is that. So I guess I do have the moral high ground to say that. I don't know. But with all that said, when you retroactively apply law, it just really causes a whole poop party, if you will. So obviously that is a big issue, and we have seen these three-letter federal agencies apply that, which is illegal, but you're not going to see them go to jail for it. But long story short, I believe that if a entity has the power to take your life from you, it should probably be done away with in any good manner, more or less. Because I mean, yes, I do understand there is a necessity for policing, because you can't expect everyone to apply morality and common sense and all that sort of stuff to every single situation. Of course, an armed society is a polite society, so that does sort of help, but it's not everything. Even in the Wild West, you did have a need for a sheriff. So I do understand there is need for that, there is cause for that, but when in America, they actually had I can't remember exactly what the word is, it's not quite an audit, but let's call it an audit. They actually had a team go in and be like, hey, federal government, can you go through all your books and find all the laws that can get someone sent to jail? And the result was, hey, there are at least this many thousand, I want to say it was tens of thousands, but we don't actually know the actual amount. When that is the case for the United States, you'll no longer live in an actual free country that actually observes the individual's right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Because if there are that many ways for someone to go to jail, there are that many ways that we can inadvertently mess up. At least under, like, let's say we had the 10 Commandments, you can look at that and be like, okay, you broke that commandment. Plain and simple. You're going to jail. You're getting beheaded. Whatever. I don't care. But when you have so many that the actual government doesn't even know it all, you can absolutely believe that you are going to go to jail if they actually do have a vendetta to go after you, which is why I don't personally feel comfortable talking about this, especially on the internet. But this is all stuff that has been said elsewhere. It's nothing new that I am saying myself on all that jazz. You guys can look up all that stuff on your absolute own. I highly recommend it. I also recommend not doing that on Google Chrome or any other browser that probably will track everything you do. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, don't trust nobody. But with all that said and done, thank you guys for watching. Sorry for that whole tangent off the side. I didn't think I'd go after the IRS today or any of those other entities, but evidently I did. Evidently I need to make sure my guns are cleaned and my ammo's checked. Cough, cough. Let's see. Luckily I don't have a dog for them to shoot. Obviously lots of jokes in this video as well because I don't want to get shot. But I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I hope it got you guys thinking about the American Express issues with eBay. I hope it got you guys thinking about how you should potentially find some ways to get around that, or potentially sell on other websites that do allow you to sell to users that have American Express cards. Additionally, I hope that you guys don't hate me too much for my views and don't report me, because I don't want to go to jail today. In fact, I probably will take off this latter half of this video because, again, I don't really feel like going to jail. So if you guys don't see this half of this video in a week from now, it's because I took it down because I don't feel like going to jail or getting shot or having my dog get shot, even though I don't have a dog. So with that said and done, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys did like this video. If you did, please be sure to leave a like down below. Be sure to subscribe because I do get into stuff like this in all my other videos. Please be sure to check out one of my other videos if you guys are so inclined, and I will see you guys in the next one.